98, 99, oh, 100. Hey guys, it's Ben from the Strength Factory, and today we're going to talk about building muscle. Having had a good look around the internet, I basically can't find anything that talks to mountain bikers about how to get bigger and put on muscle. There's obviously loads of mainstream fitness stuff out there, you know, bodybuilders and physique and all that sort of stuff, but aimed at mountain bikers and people who maybe do more endurance-based sports, there's not really much stuff out there. But there are plenty of mountain bikers out there, and maybe you, if you click this, who would benefit from and who would like to build some muscle. Now, the first thing to say is that muscle, thinking about mountain biking and in particular the gravity side, is it's like your first line of defense. It's your first line of body armor. You know, more muscle gives you that bit more protection, just like a rugby player or an American football player or something like that. The second one is that whilst the size of your muscle doesn't necessarily reflect its strength, a bigger muscle also has more potential to be stronger as well. So if, you know, long-term athletic development is your goal and you want to be stronger, then a lot of you are going to benefit from building some muscle first. The third part is actually building some muscle is going to be really positive for things like fat loss goals and improving your body composition, which leads into the final point, aesthetics, okay, i.e. how you look in your pants or when you go to the beach. And it's easy to think these days in this mad woke culture that we live in, that this is somehow a bad goal to have, to want to look in the mirror and be proud of having a fit, strong, athletic and muscular body, whether you're a man or a woman. I think that is fucking nonsense, okay? Maybe I'm biased, but I think that that's a perfectly legitimate goal. And if you work hard, you should be really proud of the body that you create. So, having said that, let's get into the details and tell you, the mountain biker, how you can build some muscle. When we're talking about building muscle, there are two things we need to get right. Number one is the stimulus, okay? The training stimulus, the things that we do here in the gym or at home in your garage or with your body weight that then creates stress on your body so that it adapts and grows new muscle tissue. The second thing that we need is to create the right environment in your body so that when the stimulus is applied, your body is in the right condition to say, oh, wait a minute, let's grow some more muscle, let's get bigger, okay? The two things need to work together if you want to get good results. First of all, let's talk about the training stimulus, okay, that first thing. And basically, if we boil it down, what we want to do is the muscle parts, the muscles that we want to grow need to be exposed to stress, like training stress. And the most stressful part of training is when you go close to failure. So if you can let's just use press-ups as a really simple example. Easy press-ups, minimal stress. I'm getting to the end of the set. They're getting harder. I'm grinding that last rep out, okay? We're going right up to the point of failure. My arms are shaking and maybe I collapse to the floor. That is where muscle growth is really stimulated, okay? That is where the stress is placed. The damage is created in the muscles that then heals and turns into growth, okay? It's basically the same with any body part. You know, you could do the same with squats. It's going to suck tomorrow and probably for 5 days after. You know, pull-ups, any exercise you can think of. The bottom line is that we need to go to those dark places where the training hurts, where it's uncomfortable, where we're creating some level of muscle breakdown that's then going to cause the stimulus for your body to grow. Don't forget to like and subscribe. The traditional approach to building muscle is very much focused on a certain number of reps, i.e. doing 8 to 12 reps is roughly the hypertrophy range. You know, 1 to 5 reps is strength, over sort of 12, 15 reps is endurance and so on. And it always used to be, to get big, 8 to 12 reps, last rep has got to be really hard, getting close to or achieving failure. Now, the research these days actually supports a broader view where you could be doing 5 reps, 10 reps or 15 reps. It's all about how hard the final rep is that determines whether your muscle grows or not, okay? So where a lot of things you're going to read, and especially people who've been around for a long time, they might still have that 8 to 12 reps in their head. The reality is, it's just all about how hard that final rep is. Let's zoom in a little bit then on a specific body part, okay? A lot of men might want a bigger chest, okay? So if we want to target getting a bigger chest, then we're going to apply that training stress I just talked about, where the final reps are going to become close to failure, i.e. maybe on press-ups or bench press if you've got a spotter. But what we want to do is, we don't want just one exercise. Ideally, in a training session, we want 2 or ideally 3 exercises that are going to target that area, maybe in slightly different directions or planes of motion, single arm, double arm, and so on, so that we create a real variety of training stress on the chest that's really going to stimulate that growth. And then we're going to do that probably twice a week is going to be about right for most people. There are people who train, like pro bodybuilders might only train chest once a week, but they go to such intense levels of muscle breakdown and destruction that you're not going to be able to lift your arms for a week if you do that. Let's leave that to the bodybuilders, and remember that actually we want to be well-rounded humans and ride our bikes and function in between training sessions. This brings me to my next point then, which is about how to organize your training. As you probably know, I generally suggest to people that they do full body training sessions where you can do some leg work, you can do some pushing, some pulling, some core, maybe some conditioning at the end. And that is my general approach for people who want to be well-rounded humans and well-rounded riders. But if you want to put a bit of extra effort into growing, into developing some muscle mass, then it may be that you need to start splitting your sessions. Maybe you have an upper body session and a lower body session. And that upper body session is going to let you put a lot more training stress onto your upper body, okay, to really stimulate that growth to happen. Now, the thing I'll say here as well is that, especially as someone who potentially wants to ride your bike, we don't always have to have the same training approaches for your upper and lower body. Yes, if you want bigger legs, then, and that's cool, a lot of people do want bigger legs, then you're going to have to train them in the way I just spoke about. And it is going to jeopardize rides, basically. It's going to spoil a few rides because your leg's going to be really sore and it's going to suck. You're going to be walking around like you crapped your pants or something, okay? In the long run, it'll be worth it. But for me, for instance, I really don't want my legs any bigger. They already bloody find it hard enough to get jeans as it is. So I train my upper and lower body in different ways. I'll do, at this time of year in the spring, I'll do some work to get bigger and more muscular in my upper body. And meanwhile, I'll focus on doing like strength and power and more athletic work on my lower body, okay? The two don't have to be the same. As part of your training, you should also do some big compound lifts like heavy deadlifts, heavy squats, sled push, maybe barbell bent over row, these whole body exercises, because as well as the actual muscles that they're working and developing, strengthening and potentially growing those, the effect they have on your body is that they increase your testosterone levels in your body. And as I'll come to in a minute, improved testosterone, male or female, helps to create the environment in your body that's conducive to growing muscle. So you now know what you need to do in the gym, but now what we need to do is take that training stress on your body and have it arrive in a body that's primed to grow. So how are we going to do that? Well, number one, we need to get the basics. You need to be sleeping well. You grow, you repair your body, it gets your hormones right, your testosterone, your growth hormone. All of that happens when you're asleep. And if you're like staying up late at night playing Call of Duty and like mucking about on your phone and getting interrupted crap sleep, then your ability to grow is going to be really diminished, okay? If you really want to grow some muscle, you need to be pumping at 8-9 hours sleep a night and have a really solid sleep routine where every day you go to bed and get up at the same time. And, this is a whole video on its own basis, sleep. But you need to sleep well. If you're not, it's going to be jeopardized. The next bit, you can probably guess, it's going to be food. You've got to fuel your body. It's literally trying to build new structures, so it needs the fuel to, number one, train at high intensity, then also to repair your body afterwards. Now, the primary thing that we need to focus on is getting 2 grams per kilo of body weight every single day. I'm about 80 kilos, so I need about 160 grams of protein every day in my diet. And we want to focus some of that protein around the training session, so that when I start the training session, there's some protein like circulating in my body, because an hour before, like I had like a protein snack or something like that. And then after the training session, a protein shake is a really efficient and effective way of getting a quick 20 to 30 or even up to 40 or 50 grams of protein on board. The most important thing though is to get that total protein in 24 hours. Okay, in your day, 2 grams per kilo of body weight, that is the key. Okay, if you get that, all the other protein stuff is just like fluff, really. It's just tweaking. The next thing to think about is actually getting enough calories. Now, this is where it kind of depends on how you are, your body composition at the moment. So if you're already fairly lean, and especially if you're like a very lean person who struggles to build muscle, then you need to increase those calories. And I mean increase them by a good few hundred calories a day. Start with about 300 calories extra a day and see how you feel, and see if you're making progress, if you're growing muscle, okay? And those calories need to be a mix of protein, carbs, and fat. If you're someone who's already carrying a bit of extra body fat and you want to build muscle and get a bit leaner, then I don't, start doing the training and hit your protein target without really changing the calories, okay? Normally to lose body fat, I'd say drop the calories. Normally to say build muscle, I'd say increase the calories. But if you're carrying a bit of extra weight around the middle here, like you're 5-10 kilos overweight or whatever, then I'll keep calories about the same. Make sure you're hitting your protein, train hard and see what happens. It may be that you start to build some muscle, get a little leaner, and it figures itself out. The bottom line is that you need to give your body the fuel to build those physical structures in your body, and we need to make sure we're hitting that 2 grams of protein a day. So far, this has just been generic how to build muscle video, basically. Nothing to do with mountain bikes. So let's just tie that in now, okay? The bottom line is that it's perfectly possible to do endurance activities like trail riding at the same time as building muscle to get bigger. Okay, you can improve your aerobic fitness and do intervals, all that stuff alongside. The key thing is that when you're doing rides, especially long rides, is that you're fueling them correctly. What you don't want to do is have a small breakfast, go and ride 4 hours with your mates on the weekend, have like 2 cereal bars all day, come back. If you're doing that, then you're going like into a big calorie deficit. You're going to be burning off like your reserves, potentially using protein as a fuel source, which is then going to like remove muscle mass from your body. The key is you've got to fuel your riding adequately so that it isn't detrimental to your muscle building goals. Remember, we need calories and energy to build muscle, so you've got to fuel that riding, okay? Doing lots of fasted cardio, probably not ideal. Doing lots of like long endurance rides where you hardly eat anything before or during it, definitely not ideal. Okay, so when we're working with mountain biking alongside building muscle, it's all about getting the calories in and fueling your body, okay? And that includes getting protein in during a ride, have a look at the bars you're having, or, when you stop for lunch, can you have like a little protein shake at the van or something like that if it's not too heavy. And then after your ride, use a recovery drink with carbs and protein so that we're helping to create an environment where your body has got the energy to grow at the same time as doing the sport we all love, which is mountain biking. So let's boil it right down. Let's summarize. Training stress. 2 or maybe 3 exercises targeting the body part we want to grow, once, preferably twice per week. The key is to go close to that point of failure, okay, to create that muscle damage, that stress on your body that's then going to want to grow, okay? Remember, you don't need to train your whole body in the same way. If you don't want to wreck your legs doing this sort of training because you want to ride your bike, then you can do the hypertrophy training on the upper body and focus on athletic training on the lower. To create the right environment in your body, it's all about hitting those protein targets, 2 grams per kilo of body weight a day, getting the calories in, eating clean, sleeping well, and just looking after yourself, like moderating stress and all that good stuff, so that we've got a great environment for that stimulus to act on. Put those two together, and give it some weeks, some months, some dedication, some consistency, that is when you're going to make some real progress. Hopefully now you've got a basic framework and understanding of how you can go and build some muscle so you look sexy as fuck in your pants, okay? And if you do, I'd love nothing more than you to put it on the internet, give me a tag, say hello. I don't want any in my DMs though. Thank you very much.